Today, I'll share with you the pros and cons of living in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. To come up with those pros and cons, I've asked dozens and dozens of my clients I've sold properties to in the last 15 years. I asked them, what are the pros and cons from your perspective? I summed them up, and today I'm sharing with you all those pros and cons. And I really feel you'll think they're pertinent. At the end of the video, you'll either think, Montreal is really not for me, I'll pick up another city, or you'll be excited to move as soon as you can to Montreal. Population of Montreal, close to 2.2 million people. We're known all across the globe for its vibrant festival all across the summer. We're on an island, we're a mix of French and English, and that's why I'm not surprised if millions of people decide to come and visit beautiful Montreal. Montreal public transportation system is really reliable. Specifically the subway, the metro system, which covers the central part of Montreal. Really reliable. You can take the metro early in the morning and late at night. For instance, with my girlfriend and I, we went to a hockey game last week on a Saturday. It was a beautiful day. So we used public transportation, the metro, to go to see the Montreal Canadiens. And on our way back at around 1 o'clock at night, I used the same public transportation, the metro, to head back home. On top of that, there's a bike path that covers the whole island of Montreal that's really reliable and clean that you can use maybe from end of April till about beginning of December. However, some parts of Montreal are not well covered in terms of the public transportation, specifically the metro. I'll give you some examples. Montréal Est, Montreal East, Pointe-aux-Trembles, Rivière-des-Prairies, on the east side of Montreal. They have some buses, but they don't have a subway systems in terms of how easy it is to get to the subway and get to the downtown area. So those people that live in those areas have to take a bus for a long period of time to head to the first subway station. So it's not as reliable. And sometimes some of my clients that live in those areas sometimes tell me they want to move closer to the central part to have access to the metro. The good news is that the REM, the REM, the express train station that's coming up in a few years will cover all those different areas that are not as well covered by the metro system right now. In the future, everybody on the island should be well covered with the REM. Montreal is a bilingual and progressive city. It's really an inclusive city, which means that Montreal does not care where you're from. They're really welcoming the whole population of the whole wide world. On the other side, Montreal is a big city, just like Toronto or New York. So it's a fast-paced city, specifically in the downtown area, which means that a lot of my clients that are from different parts of the world, when they buy a property in Montreal, they tell me it's kind of tougher to make friends, because sometimes it could be superficial. So for newcomers, it's a challenge to make friends the first couple of years. Each neighborhood of Montreal has its own identity. For instance, you live in a plateau. It has this really European energy. You want a really brand new city? Well, you have Griffintown. You want to have this suburban feel. Well, you could buy a house if you have the means in Outremont or a Huntsic, for instance. So depending on your budget and your taste, you'll find the right neighborhood for your needs, for sure. Montreal house ownership is a challenge because the prices, they're kind of high. I'll give you some estimate, and maybe on the screen you'll see the numbers of different neighborhoods of Montreal. I'll start with a Huntsic on the north-end part of Montreal. $790K for a single family home. That's the median price of 2024. Le Plateau, 1.2 million. Le Sud-Ouest, $830K. Hochelaga, $605K. Outremont, trendy and pricey neighborhood, $2 million. Ville-Marie, $1 million. Rosemont, $930K. Villeray, $638K. Verdun, just above $1 million. Saint-Laurent, $800K. Those prices will be listed on the screen so you can see, at least you have an idea of how much you'll need to pay to buy a single family home in 2024. That's the median price. And a sub point on top of that is that the taxes follow along the price you'll pay. So the higher the ticket to buy a property, well, the higher your taxes. So this will directly affect your budget at the end of the month. So no matter what is your lifestyle, Montreal has the right neighborhood for you. One thing you need to know is that I've been a realtor since 2009. And with my team, we help hundreds of people buying properties or selling properties in Montreal or the surrounding areas. So if you ever have a project coming in a month, 3 months, 6 months, a year from now, just shoot us an email. We'll schedule a Zoom or a face-to-face meeting and we'll guide you from A to Z. Montreal is really famous for all the green spaces and parks. Of course, we think of the Mont-Royal. I have friends from university. They go to relax, to run, just to breathe the fresh air. Or we have the Parc Jean Drapeau. People go there and family have a barbecue just to spend some time outside during the summer or during the autumn or spring. It's a beautiful park. And all across Montreal, you have different spots that you can go. If you use your car, you can go 1 hour north to the Laurentians to go ski or hike. Or if you go 1 hour south, you could go to the Eastern Townships and just enjoy nature on top of that. So we're really well positioned to take advantage of everything that nature has to offer. Parking in Montreal is a nightmare. If you speak to anyone that knows Montreal, when it's time to park, you gotta schedule maybe 30 minutes in advance just to find a parking spot. And when you find a parking spot, you look at the sign, it's really hard to read those signs. You think you've understood the sign, and then you come back, you have a ticket. So it's really tough to understand, and I'm not joking. And on top of that, when you park your car downtown, it could cost between $4 to $6 per hour. And if you park it in a private parking, it'll cost maybe $30 to $40 for the whole day. So it's really pricey. And that's the main reason why I never use my car. Most of the time, I'll use the public transportation to go downtown. Montreal is Canada's culture capital. We have artists from all across the globe that are coming to Montreal. And what's great about Montreal, you'll know if you came here for vacation, there's some free festivals, there's some festivals you need to pay, but there's fun all year long. I'll just give you a quick idea of what's coming up for the next 12 months. We got the Jazz Festival, really nice. I used to go there when I was like 12 years old up until last summer. Le Montréal en lumière, nuit blanche. Montréal complètement sec, circus downtown, completely free. That's really nice. The Montreal Christmas Market. And some paid events, Osheaga Music Festival. The Picnic Electronic has been there for 20 years for music and dancing. F1 Formula Grand Prix, Igloo Fest, just to name a few. So all year long, you'll have a festival, an event that is going to be appealing to you to have fun with your friends and your family, that's for sure. Is there traffic in Montreal? Of course there's traffic. There's more traffic every single year. Not as much traffic as Paris or LA, but still, it's getting worse, specifically during winter time or when there's construction during the summertime. In Montreal, you think you will avoid traffic if you go to Montreal at noon, but still there's some traffic. But the heaviest part of the traffic is maybe I'd say between 8 and 9 in the morning and between 4 and 6. If you're stuck in traffic, well, I hope you'll tune in to my podcast, to my video that you can listen in your car, because at least the commute will be way smoother. Whenever I travel to the States, the rest of Canada, I always think Montreal is really nice for clubs, for bars, for events, for fun, because I like traveling, but there's nothing that's compared to Montreal in terms of the nightlife. That's for sure. There's the casino on top of that. You want to have fun at night after 10 p.m., there's all sorts of options for you. I'd say in Montreal, there's probably more options in Montreal than the rest of Canada altogether, that's for sure. The nightlife is really amazing. You can go to just a bar, a pub, a club, a dance event. You'll find something you love for sure. And on top of that, you can have a nice restaurant from different cuisine from all across the globe. Some AAA 10 on 10 restaurant, exquisite cuisine, some other local restaurants that are as nice as well. So you can eat well, you can have fun with your friends in bars and clubs. That's really amazing. And if you want to gamble, you have the Casino de Montreal, really nice. I go there with my girlfriend, once every 3-4 months, just for the ambiance, because there's some shows, you can play a bit, you have a few drinks, and you can access it through the public transit as well to avoid traffic. That's another good thing we like about the casino. When DJs are asked what are the top cities they like in the whole wide world, Montreal is always in their top, maybe top 10, top 20, because of the energy of Montreal. People really enjoy going out, they enjoy dancing, they enjoy being with their friends. So it's really why people from all across the globe come to Montreal sometimes just to party. So there's really fancy restaurants, but on the other hand, there's some people that are really suffering. There's poverty. There's a lot of homeless people in the downtown area. And more, when you walk on St. Catherine Street, you'll notice a lot of homeless people, and that's really sad. And a lot of the people in those neighborhoods are trying to help bring food to those, but when there was recently a survey done by a group of police officers, and the one thing they found out is that people, generally speaking, think that the province of Quebec and the city of Montreal should do more to help them. The province of Quebec should support financially Montreal so that Montreal could support those homeless people. And one option that was provided, that was brought up, which makes sense to me, is that the police officers should be teamed up with social workers and then to go see those people and try to find some solutions to help them, So this is something that needs to be fixed, because it's always nice to talk about the clubs, the nice fancy restaurant, the fancy neighborhoods, but we have to socially be responsible for people that suffer more. The job market of Montreal is really great. Whether you work in finance, in the health industry, in the tech, you'll find a job. When I was in university, all the different jobs, all the biggest jobs, the most interesting jobs were in Montreal. And when I speak to my friends from all different kinds of specialty, They all find jobs in Montreal, so it's a really appealing in terms of the money and the variety of job options. Just to name a few, I'll give you some examples. Montreal in the AI, the video game, and the tech startups is really booming. So if you're in those fields, you'll find some jobs. You also have big companies like Google and Microsoft that are establishing themselves in Montreal because they know they've got a lot of talent here. And on top of that, you got jobs in education, like I said, media, finance, healthcare. Basically, you'll find a job if you want a job. Oh, Montreal has a harsh and long and cold winters. If you're not used to snow, if you're not used to cold, well, be prepared because Montreal, on top of having snow, there's a lot of people. So when there's a snowstorm, oh, it's tough because the city of Montreal manages the removal really well. But for the first 24 to 48 hours following the snowstorm, it's impossible to park. You know, you might need about an hour to go to work. When there's a snowstorm, 2 hours. And I'm not exaggerating. It's really a nightmare. But at least the toughest part of the winter is probably, like I'd say, January, February, those 2 months. And then at March, it gets, you know, it's not as worse. So it's really like maybe 2-3 months of the year that are really tough. But aside from that, it's not so bad. Now, rents. If you compare rents in Montreal to Toronto or Vancouver, we're considered as being cheaper. I'll give you the numbers. You want to rent a 2-bedroom apartment in Montreal. The cost per month, $2,276 on average. Toronto, $3,158. Vancouver, $3,632. And I noticed that when I was in Vancouver this summer with my girlfriend. We were noticing people having like, for a 2-bedroom, there were maybe 6-7 people living in the same apartment. I was like, what's going on? You have a party? No, it's so expensive in Vancouver that Montreal, relatively speaking, is cheaper. It's not really cheap, but it's cheaper when you compare. So that's my next point. For people that have been living in Montreal for their whole life, they don't think about Toronto, Vancouver. It's still really pricey. In the last 5 years, rents have gone up. I'll give you an example of different neighborhoods, the average to rent a 2-bedroom apartment. Ahuntsic on the north end part, $1,850 per month for a 2-bedroom apartment. Outremont, $2,225. Plateau, $2,300. Ville-Marie, $2,550. Hochelaga, $1,725. Griffintown, $2,600. So that will take a big portion of your budget just to live in a place. I hope you have a roommate because otherwise it's kind of pricey. So the fact that Montreal is cheaper than Toronto and Vancouver explains why people from all across the globe are investing in investment properties in Montreal because they know Montreal is cheaper compared to other cities. So if you have a project of investing in Montreal, my team and I were there to help. Just shoot us an email, we'll guide you. Montreal is a higher education hub. You have Concordia University, McGill University, Université de Montréal, HEC. And what's really nice that I've noticed when I was studying in university is that you have people from all across the globe. And it makes the discussion really interesting. Since Montreal is an old city, you'll notice that Montreal, there's a lot of repairs. The road repairs, bridge repairs, sewer system repairs. And what happens? It increases the amount of traffic because instead of using this main route, well, it's closed for 6 months. Then you have to use those secondary roads, but it's going to be jammed for maybe like 6 months. Montreal offers easy access to a lot of services. Just to name a few, the medical world. You have some private clinic, you have some public clinic all across the island of Montreal. On top of that, you have some schools like I previously mentioned. You have all the commodities you'll need for your daily life. Pretty often it's walking distance depending on where you live. And another good point is that Montreal is a relatively clean and safe city. When you're looking at Statistics Canada, all the stats, you'll find out that Montreal has a lower crime rate than Toronto, Vancouver, Calgary, Winnipeg, which is good news. Unfortunately, there's higher crime rate in some specific areas of Montreal. Montreal North, Montréal Nord, Saint-Michel, Hochelaga. Fortunately, when we look at the number of violent crimes per 1,000 residents, it's higher. So when the police officers survey the residents of those key neighborhoods, 30% of people will say they don't feel safe in their own neighborhood. And at night, 50% of people say they don't feel safe. So when it's time for you to pick a neighborhood, make sure to pick the right neighborhood for your budget and for your level of safety you desire. And that's why we're there with my team. We'll guide you from A to Z to pick the right neighborhood that's good for you, for your budget, for your family, for the people that are moving with you. I'm curious to know, is Montreal for you? Yes or no? If it's yes, why? What makes Montreal appealing from your perspective? And if Montreal is not for you, I'm also curious to know why. Just write in the comments. I'll read all the comments and I'll personally respond to all of them. If you like those kinds of video, stick around because I got more coming up about the different cities around Montreal. And like I said, if you have a project to buy or sell, shoot us an email and I'll personally guide you with my team to find the right home for you. In the meantime, take good care.